Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us. On the show today, we're going to talk about faction rallies, 4K enhancements, our Destiny 2 wish list, and we're going to talk about some online comments. First up, thank you so much, CJ, for joining me on the show today.
What's up?
Sean Finnegan.
You're welcome. Why were you guys so late to the show, guys? Come on.
Oh, Sean. And our special guest, by popular request, Terry Schwartz is in the house. Thank you, Terry, for sending the Twitter army after me to get you on the show, and we are happy to have you.
Thank you. CJ.
Boom.
The adjust. I gotta get my camera ready. Camera.
Make sure you get her good side and all that.
I want you to know that this is such a big moment for me. I'm so happy to be here.
You take my spot on Unlock for a week.
For 1
You
week.
demand to be on Fireteam
It was
Chat.
personal. It was a vendetta.
It was personal because I had been cracking jokes for many months now.
Yeah.
Letting Destin know in my very subtle, not subtle way that I would love to be on Fireteam Chat. And every time you were like, no, and I was like, is he joking? You're so real.
The final
you do
straw.
with Destin, yeah.
Final straw was just calling you out on Unlocked and being like, tweet at Destin. And months later.
No, you know what
Here we
the
are.
actual final straw was?
What was
the
it?
text yesterday when you were at my desk. I'm like, all right, I got to get her on the show. Otherwise,
did.
this is never going to end.
Destin has this thing where people always touch stuff on his desk.
No, it's not that they touch stuff. It's that they remove it, then they don't return
Right.
it. Then I'm like, hey, Alexa, you have
There's
to
a lot
buy me a
of
new
desk
controller,
trauma.
a new HDMI cord.
But not working
Yeah.
in the San Francisco office, working in the LA office.
I just sound crazy.
So we're like,
is.
what is happening with Destin's desk? And there was like this glut of these. Like it just kept happening. And we don't have separate aliases for different offices. So we would just get these angry all caps emails from Destin being like,
Not all
"Stop."
caps.
Mostly all caps.
All like very angry via email, and we'll be like, "What is happening?" So yesterday, I sent Dustin a photo of just like me touching at like as many things as
Everything on his
possible with
desk.
like his mail on my desk. Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I
glad-
do,
I'm glad-
Terry. That's why
So that's
it's all
why she's on the
missing.
show for the first and last time. Thanks for coming, Terry.
Listen, I wore my warlock necklace
Yeah.
just for this.
I mean, so for those of the who may not know Terry, like, do you want to tell us
Yeah.
who you are?
That's good call,
For
Sean.
Yeah,
Very
just
good.
I'm
sure.
sure someone out there
I
is
mean,
asking the
like
question.
my victory lap just got me so revved up. I'm ready to go.
Oh, we're amped too.
Oh, we're amped. So I am Terry Schwartz. I run our entertainment team down in LA. Also a big fan of Destiny.
You play a little bit.
Just a little bit. I played with
She
you
has a
lots.
warlock.
I'll
we've
vouch for you,
played.
Terry. I'll vote.
That's-
Wait a
I haven't
minute.
played with her yet.
Deflated.
I've played
I'm
lots
glad
of
this
Terry.
moment that
I've
I've
played
waited
lots.
for so long
No,
to
we've
appear in
played,
Fireteam
haven't
Chat.
we?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if
In
we
Destiny
have.
1, I think.
We've for sure played.
Yeah, we've played
And
lots.
then I
It was
beat
fun.
the raid with Zach and crew
Oh,
from
cool.
the IGN team and Brandon Tyrell,
Mm-hmm.
another Fireteam Chat fella.
Yeah.
Well, maybe December 5th for Osiris.
Yes.
We can play together.
Yes. Pick back up my PS4 controller, which is my way of saying I play on PS4.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, no
And
PC
no
yet for
PC,
you?
No,
Okay.
I don't even have a
Have you
PC.
seen it?
I have seen it.
PC's pretty.
Actually, that's a lie. I played at the
event,
early
that's right.
event. Right. I
Yeah.
played on PC then.
Yeah,
But are
it's
you
so
a
smooth.
keyboard or controller person?
I do not play on PC beyond that one.
He plays
event.
PC with a controller.
I
All
think
in
that's
you.
the way to do it.
I
It's
admit
a
it.
completely
Everybody
different style of playing, though. And if one is more
I mean, that's kind of
organic
the
and
problem
natural-
with it, right?
I'm
Like,
just
it's a
not
different
good with
game.
mouse and keyboard. It is a different game. Yeah.
All right, we're kind of all over the place. Let's get into the first topic, and that is faction rallies. They are wrapping up later this week. So we've kind of had enough time to use the glitch and farm all the tokens.
There it is. I knew that was coming.
I want to know, what do you guys think? I'll be happy to start and say, you need to fix your drop rates. What is going on? 15 arms, no chest piece, no helmet after 30 packages?
I mean, that's always
Crazy.
the Destiny problem, though, right? Like, you do the raid over and over again. You do all these different events to try and get, and then it's that one piece, and it's the
Yeah.
completionist element, because you're like, if I just do it one more time, maybe I'll get it. Do you think that if it does get fixed, though, would that undercut your desire to keep doing faction rallies? Or is it
they're
just-
not-
The answer
Right,
is
right.
yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Like, imagine
yeah.
if you did 3 packages, got all 3 pieces, you wouldn't do them anymore.
I don't want all 3, but when you do 30, and you're capped at 30, you can't do more than that. So it's just like,
But-
all right, I didn't get everything. I guess I'm done with faction rallies.
But the point she's making is like the reason RNG is in there and the reason there's a chance that you don't get the thing you want immediately right up front is to incentivize you to continue playing on.
I'm not sure what the balance is, though, but I do know it's frustrating. Like, looking back to D1, not completing my book because
Yeah.
for whatever reason I had to go on a trip and it was the last week and it was my only chance to get it. It is frustrating when the incentive is completion that you have a chance that you can't.
It's a thing that does make you come back to the game, though. I think your thing and everything, too, with the mod system, like, there's got to be some kind of incentive to get multiple drops and what's going to happen, or how could they take that and use it as a gameplay mechanic? Like, I keep thinking you might be able to maybe someday break them all down, and every time you break down 5, it gives you, like, something for doing that. Because, it seems weird that
What
you
if
do
it was
that
just
all the
weighted?
time.
Like if it could scan your inventory every time you're opening an engram, like it does with your light level, your power level, and understand like, oh, this dude's gotten 15 gloves. Maybe he has a slightly higher chance of that not happening.
This dude hasn't slept in 3 days. Just give him what he needs.
They said something about smart loot at one point, and I could not find the original quote. I believe it was for raids, but that they weren't actually talking about a smarter loot system, which they desperately need.
So I hate to bring it up because like it happens every episode. But Diablo 3 did this. Like at the beginning of Diablo 3, everyone hated the loot system.
It's not Warcraft. It's okay.
Still Blizzard. Still Blizzard. Yeah. But like
growing.
Diablo 3 had a huge loot problem. For a game where it's all loot based like Destiny, that's obviously a big issue. And they did this whole loot 2.0 system where they revamped everything from the ground up, and everyone was like, "Wait, this is so good." Yeah. Destiny desperately needs something like that. Right?
Do you
James
remember
actually
the beta,
talked
you
about
guys?
that actually on the show specifically where they did that, and he said, "Yeah, it was a different game." So yeah.
Do you remember the beta when I'm like, oh, I'm seeing the exact same problems with drop rates. I cannot get the arms. I've written this strike 40 times. It looks like they haven't fixed that smart loot system. Destiny 2 launches. Hey, same problems. It's 4 years. 4 years into the franchise. They need to address these major issues. We'll talk about our wish list a little bit later. Let's stay focused on faction.
Why do you
rallies
think
for
that's
now.
not a priority?
They probably have a billion things in a priority checklist.
Right.
But for some, to me, there's 2 issues that they need to address. Faction rally specifically, I feel like don't cap it at 30. Let me continue earning if I want to. I think they're worried about it breaking the investment system, but the gear I'm getting for faction rallies is dropping like 10 light levels too low for me anyway.
Right.
I just want to have the set.
Right.
Like, let me get the collection. It's just an arbitrary cap, it seems like. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But ultimately, until there is some kind of kiosk or something like that, I mean, that's really what your biggest problem is. You do want to, again, we've been here. Destin wants a vault, Destin wants a kiosk.
Episode 3 in a row. Holding on to hope.
Have we talked about that? Yeah.
Well, they have collections too. They have collections for exotics and emblems and stuff like that. It's like, hey, you have that in the game. Where is the weapon one?
Yeah.
And the armor one?
And that feels like something that, again, feels like a missed opportunity. It feels like if you could grind to it and know that you can get it and then pick it up or delete it from your vault or whatever. I mean, there's that with a bunch of things, not just faction rallies, like raids, vendor web. Like, I mean, but there's limited ways to get those things except for doing, again, the token turn in.
Which way did everybody pledge this time? New Monarchy was, well, I did all 3 because I do the cycling thing where I rotate everybody to try and get full gear sets. But the one I hope wins is New Monarchy.
I mean, I'm a winner, so I chose Dead Orbit.
They're probably going to win too.
Now,
you want that
Which is
one-shot
so-
grenade launcher?
Yeah, which is so
with
dumb
bad
because
perks?
the grenade launcher is, I mean, just grenade launchers in general are terrible.
Great.
Like,
Yeah.
I do not remember why I chose Dead Orbit in D1. Like it was arbitrary
cool
at the
in
time.
D1.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I got so many rewards from pledging that way, and then when it came time, I was like, why would I change? But then it was funny that the tides turned in the winner favor.
Loyalty.
I went New Monarchy.
Right.
Oh
These
my
two
gosh, really?
fools.
Yeah. I went New Monarchy. I want the sword. You know?
Yeah, sword. That's why. I base it on what the gear is.
Yeah, me too.
Not,
Although,
not
like,
the faction I like.
But you are totally right about in Destiny 1, they were basically interchangeable and arbitrary. There were some, like Future War Cult did have a really good rocket launcher at one point.
Yeah.
New
And
Monarchy had a good AR in vanilla.
Also, Dead Orbit
And
had, but Dead
second-
Orbit was the big
second
one because it had Hung Jury, which for a long time was like the best PvE scout. But
And
like,
they had cooler looking things for
that's the
gear.
other thing is like they do look really cool. My whole thing this time is like, I don't actually think the Dead Orbit Titan armor looks that good.
It's not as cool looking.
Yeah, so I avoid Dead Orbit just on principle there. But then also, I kind of have an issue with the New Monarchy dude. What's his name?
Hideo.
Yeah, Executor Hideo.
Yeah.
I told you this on a previous episode. He
Yeah.
strikes me as like one of those Greenpeace people who's like, "Sir, can I talk to you a little bit about my cause?" And you're like, "No."
In the
You're like,
lore,
no, I
that's
just need to
kind
go
of
to the
what he
grocery
is,
store.
actually. So, yeah. Anyway, so I would like to see them figure out a little bit more incentivization for faction rallies. The gear's great. The armor's a good incentivization, but don't cap it out. It just seems sort of strange. Like it's a decent idea. It's still not quite where it needs to be.
Also, as an activity, like if it's going to be a special thing, like they want their activities to feel special
Yeah.
and unique. How is it any different than any other token system in the game, which is every system?
It spawns new loot caves,
Yeah.
which is what's happening. Everybody's going to the EDZ. It's like, hey.
And if you pledge, there's no like story element. It's just like, okay, we need you to go on this super secret mission.
Oh, see, that's the other thing. Is like the one cool sort of aspect that I really liked about
each have their own lore. So.
what's the Future War Cult girl? I forget her name. But Future War Cult, Future War Cult, like when you first pledged, she's like, I saw the war coming. I said this would happen.
Yeah.
Like no one listened to me. And I was like, oh, dude, why? I'm going to listen. I'm going to pledge. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Even just that 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that you get when you're walking by her or when she's trying to entice you was cool enough for me to get invested. It'd be really cool if they fleshed that out a little bit and we could learn a little bit more about these characters as like what their role is in the lore. That'd be cool.
I mean, they used to repurpose more content in Destiny 1, like, oh, run that strike backwards or whatever. Like, do that, but like give us more narrative, like even over the speaker about the faction
narratives that you can.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah.
Or like an adventure where you run through a segment that's already made geometry wise.
Yeah, the adventures honestly have been, as someone who is terrible at PvP.
You played all of them, right?
Yeah, I played all the adventures and like they're so cool and like very different types of stories that you can get. And I know like wish list, again, to your point that Bungie has a laundry list of things that they need to deal with in this game. And it is a lot of time and effort to go into writing individual adventures. But I think something that really incentivizes more than getting people, going up against each other reminds me of like Splatoon 2, like Splatfest.
I like the fun rivalry.
But I think like something that more than just a weapon or a token that feels really unique to your decision that you can't get.
Like, oh, I really identify with Future War Cult.
Yeah, or like I got this cool story you can't go on because and that makes you want to pledge to a different one on a different character
or bounties, because that's the thing. Like right now, we were talking about how there's challenges when you go into PvP or other activities, but there's no kind of central way to actually have an accomplishment that you're doing for longer than a day. And bounties allowed you to do that, right? They gave you something to progress towards or do in the world for maybe the week that it's active.
So let's kind of fold this in with our Destiny 2 wish list because we're kind of overlapping a lot.
Yeah.
So Destiny 2 has a lot of stuff that we want to see improved. So we have some constructive criticism and things that we think would make it better. And we're going to talk about that a little bit right now. So CJ, I see you have a whole piece of paper there.
I have a couple things that I'm wishing for of Destiny 2. I mean, the biggest one, again, being a PvP guy, is some sort of ranked match. Now, again, this is something that everybody's been talking about. I know, and it's the one thing that, like, that is what Bungie has done so well in so many of their other games. It seems still mind-boggling to me.
Bungie
that's
innovated the console multiplayer competitive shooter.
So Halo 2's anniversary was yesterday of its launch, the day before we were filming this, and it's one of those things when you look at what that was, like the innovation of that game, everything from like the party system, the lobby, the ranking, all those things, you go, that is insane. Some of those things are still prevalent in a lot of games today. And that's what's weird about even playing some new games that have been out, like, the latest Modern Warfare, or, wow, see that?
Yeah.
Latest Call of Duty game, World War II. I'm playing a lot of that. And even just the progression of, hey, you're at the next level of XP. That's cool because I'm grinding towards something. You're opening up something you can see or, achieve something for playing. I'm still confused why that doesn't exist in Destiny PvP.
Yeah. Like,
you have to grind for the emblem that allows you to track the not true KDR, but like the KD or whatever.
I mean, I said this really a long time ago, even before Destiny 2 launched, but like so my criticisms run very deeply threaded through Bungie's DNA. Like when I talk about fixes and stuff, I'm not talking about small fixes. Like you know what I'm talking about. I have huge aspirations for what Destiny to be.
Yeah.
I want a new strike every month, and I want that strike to tell me a new story about a new enemy. Or
the faction rallies happen once a month too. That's so interesting.
But just like something like that, right? Something that like sounds not too terribly difficult to me, but like I'm not a game dev, so I have no idea if it's really difficult. I'm sure it is. Otherwise, we'd probably get it. Things like that, but also like a brand new loot system, new and different incentivizations for the activities. Because right now, every reward you get is just collect tokens, turn them all into an NPC. Every system is like that. They remove the whole slot machine thing at the end of PvP and the end of like activities where you're just randomly rewarded.
They put the slot
raids,
machine in a boring setting, as opposed to like having the slot machine during you doing these activities like the raid and such. Now it's just like, no, you're not going to do the slot machine here. We want you to do it later.
And psychologically, it does take away from that feeling of like, oh, I got it in the moment when we opened the chest. I got
we beat beat
game.
Atheon and I got my Gallahorn.
They streamlined all their systems, but in doing that, they made them more boring.
Yeah, they took
I
some
beat
of the fun
Atheon.
away.
What'd you get? Tokens.
I know.
So
Yeah.
there's those things as well. But like you're a big PvP guy, so am I. Like I wanted it to be a gun skill game, and I wanted that gun skill to be reflected in the actual system. So I want something like MMR, like multiplayer matchmaking rating, and like I want personal stats. Like I want to be able to dive into the scoreboard and see how many headshots I got, how many body shots I got, how much damage I did.
Information is there. That's the crazy part. Is a lot of that information is there. And even when I was playing Call of Duty, even your first character screen comes up, it just says that. It's like how many games you've played, how many matches you've won, lost, what's your KD, what's your, and it's like
how many medals you got. Like
why not have that stuff right
There's
there?
none of that
on
is in
your character in the screen.
Well, it's interesting because I'm the flip side of that because like
I want to know that info.
No. I do. I think the waiting is so important because I have not put over 1,000 hours in Destiny, but in the ratio of the amount of time I invest in the games I play, Destiny is really high up there. But I'm not great at PvP. And one of the really fun things about starting up Destiny 2 and getting a wealth of new people playing is that suddenly I had a chance in Crucible and I got like, okay, in the scale of new people playing.
Sure.
But if I was to go in and like dive into Crucible now, I would just be annihilated and that's not fun.
But that's what we were
You'd probably be
talking
fun.
about.
So I totally
No,
get it
that's what I
because-
think. Like different tier, like
Yes,
that's
the
why
option.
I agree with you that I
Yes.
really think that the option of having like an EXP or talent-based ranked, pairing system for something like Crucible and Iron Banner. Like I've never played Iron Banner because I never play Crucible. Like that would draw me in. I think it is a system that exists. So why not implement it here?
That's the thing is they already have a quick play playlist and a competitive playlist. And what's the difference between them?
Just a couple
Literally,
of different game types.
yeah.
And I also think what's important is like the one really repeatable thing you can do in Destiny in between expansions and new raids and everything like that is the PvP element. And for me, it's
100%.
like, okay, there's nothing really to do until the next expansion
Yeah.
or Sparrow Racing comes back.
That's an issue, right?
That was the glue. Like we all talked about it. Grenadier Jake was here a few weeks ago. Trials was the glue in between PvE content releases.
Right.
And for people to have forgot that, like I don't care whether or not you value PvP more so than the other, whatever. Everybody wants something different from Destiny. I mean, they even did Sparrow Racing. So it's not necessarily like a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
It was a racing
I
game.
played
there for a few
Sparrow
months.
Racing
And that-
every day.
and that
when
was
Sparrow
fun.
Racing was
Fun,
available
dude.
because I was like, I finally leveled up
You're
in
grinding
Crucible.
up.
Yeah.
Also,
because I was
it's
getting
just
points for
it's
it.
just different. Like it's just something that we're not used to doing in Destiny, which is great. And like I think that as someone who's a big PvP guy, I think they kind of misfired on Trials and the whole competitive aspect of it is
For
like,
D2.
Yeah.
For D2, yeah, because in Trials Year 1, in Destiny 1, there was always a sense of progression because you're always getting better at the game. And then they would incentivize you getting better at the game by giving you kind of things that you would only get by going flawless, like the ornaments and stuff.
Right.
All that's gone. Like
Yeah.
They're
you
starting
can
to bring
get,
some of it back.
but you can get Trials gear that looks the same as everyone else's Trials gear just from being in a clan with people who do Trials. And I don't think that properly incentivizes people to do the activity.
Yeah.
And as a PvP guy, that sucks. But then even as not a PvP person, doesn't it feel cheap to you that you're getting the gear without
for
having
sure.
earned it?
I beat I didn't even start playing the raid until about a week after it dropped, but because I was in the IGN clan, thanks
got
guys.
the soul.
Yeah,
I
you're
got
welcome.
all this
Yeah.
dope gear that I did not.
And
earn
it's like
at
that's
all.
cool because I get it's making it more accessible to people, but like I don't know.
There should be some things. Like
It
I don't want to
removes
say that there shouldn't be
parts.
any. I understand what you're saying with PvP. Like there shouldn't just be ranked. There should be ranked and casual. There should be the ability to have some
in this
things
other
that are
game, like-
exclusive.
I really
we're-
think it's like talent based is like oversimplifying it, but you know what I mean? Like the amount of experience you have that is obvious by how often you play and
Like
like,
rating
your KD,
based.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I really think that would be useful.
Totally understand what all you guys are saying. I want to give Terry an opportunity to say what her top wish list item is.
Again, like I come at it from a very different perspective from you guys, and I'm sure a lot of people listening, and that I love the story elements, and I really think that was something that D2 developed a lot. I loved the adventures. You got such an interesting array of different types of stories. I don't remember the name specifically, but there was that one like music-based one where you're tracking, or I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That it was just something completely different for my experience of Destiny that I'd ever experienced before, and I really don't want that focus to be lost in between expansions. That's something I would love, quarterly, like new different types of stories, updated
Dude,
adventures.
Yeah.
Again, not having to go back and replay the same things over
Like,
and over again.
It does
getting
sound
unique
like
experiences.
that we'll get that
Taken
stuff
King-
based on what Chris Barrett said.
Yeah.
Taken King did this so well, which is like you jump into a very robust campaign about a new enemy. You learn a lot about the Hive, you learn a lot about orcs, you defeat orcs, and then after that, there's still all these quests in the tower that keep you
Yeah.
engaged
Right.
and telling you stories for months afterwards. Some of
Yeah.
those quests were really difficult to get through. They were like 20 steps.
And then people find
none
found
of those
the
are in Destiny.
Black
There are
Spindle.
none.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
for the first time in this game, the Hive feel different than the Cabal, feel different than the Vex. Like
Yeah.
they've done a good
So
job
now-
defining these different elements of this game that just previously existed. And I think that they need to keep expanding on that.
There's a
in the
great
expansion.
opportunity to
secrets-
explore those in greater depth.
What secrets have we solved in Destiny 2? Nothing, because it's
Let me
all
ask
on
you.
your
Let me
map.
ask you a question. Still, what happened during the collapse? What is the Traveler?
Yeah.
Why did it come to Earth? These are all questions that I feel like we
Why
should.
is it dormant now?
Yeah, like
But it's awake. But it's,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. Looks like it's got a clock inside of it. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like
Major Grimwalker.
I mean, I'm
guys.
very,
Yeah.
I'm very story oriented in Destiny 2, and I think it's actually one of the things that they've leveraged least well. Like, there's all this great opportunities with all these different activities that they have in the game to explore new and interesting parts of the universe and characters in the universe, and it seems like they just haven't. Like, if it were me in the driver's seat, again, not having any idea how to develop a AAA game, I'd be like, I want to make a new strike every month. And like this month, it'll be a story about the Cabal. Like, make up some fictional Cabal guy. Oh, the Gaul who has made no presence at all after
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
He's got a little brother. And guess what? That dude's angry now.
Right.
Yeah.
Go kill him in this strike. And then we
By
learn
the
a little
way-
bit more about the Cabal. Like, why is that so hard? I don't know.
Thinking more about the campaign, we see Gaul, he kicks our butt, and then he just stays in his tower the whole campaign, then you kill him at the end. And that's it. You don't even fight like his second in command.
Yeah, no, he gets-
You never
Yeah,
see
no,
the
he
tra-
kills
And then in
you
the
never see
campaign,
the
he gets
speaker
like,
again.
you kill him, and then
Yeah.
he gets like all big and amazing. You're like, oh, now the real fight
But I
starts.
In D1, especially when they got to the point that they were focusing
Oh,
so
he's
much
dead.
on D2 development, like they reskinned a lot of the levels, or to your point, like you played through it the opposite direction
Yeah.
to different ends. And again, we're oversimplifying, so I'm not a game dev. I don't
No,
know
of
how to
course
make
not.
a game. But
Hey,
and I'm
guess
sure-
what? Hey guys, we don't make games, just in case anybody was wondering.
we just
Yeah.
we just talk about
Yeah.
it. But no, like I would love to see a little bit more diversity, because for me, again, not being a big PvP player, not wanting to go in and do Crucible and everything else, after I beat the raid, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
'Cause, like, what
there's
else is
some
there
other
to
stuff
do?
I can pop in and do and get new loot and get like the weekly stuff.
Yeah.
But there's not as much long form. And they brought in a lot more new players. That was a big part of the push for D2, is not just being for diehard Destiny players, but a wider array of people. And I think if you aren't waiting things like Crucible and suddenly the only people left playing are the really, really skilled players, there's not a lot to keep those people who
Totally.
came in and
Yeah.
played obsessively for months sticking around.
It's a huge balance that
Proper
again, is tough.
incentivization.
I know the
So
incentive.
that's a good jump off for what I wanted to say. I want to let you guys talk a lot, except for CJ. So for me, my big thing is incentivization for the player and for everybody that's collecting things. They've even called out, like, we never expected the player base to collect this much. And everybody collects everything. You want to get all the guns. You want to get all the armor sets. That's why we do
I just
faction
made it
rallies.
everything.
You know, and that's why we found out ways
guys
to
would
cheese faction rallies. However, it's 4 years into the development of this franchise.
Yeah.
And they have yet to solve the vault system. That's like not okay.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, they're taking stuff away that you're never going to have the chance to earn because of the drop rate problems.
I mean, it goes back into loot as well, but we talked a little bit about this.
Kiosks.
But like
wanna
the
say.
uniform legendaries across the board, I remember I said specifically, "Oh, I don't mind that as long as they increase the loot pool."
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Right.
And so now you've collected all the legendaries already. You've seen the ones that you want.
You probably have. And if you look at the checklist, you probably have most of them, but not all. A lot of
Sure,
people-
sure.
But the fact that you feel like you have them all, that's a problem too.
because then you don't
Well,
play.
because you're
Yeah.
pulling the slot machine and you don't
Yeah.
pay attention when you get 50 legendaries in 10 seconds.
Oh, they're 50 legendaries.
Which is
I,
like-
I don't think any of these are good, so I don't care.
It
like,
surprises
there's nothing
me,
to
though,
chase.
that they say, "Oh, we didn't expect the player base to collect this much," because that is their entire incentivization.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, people collect stuff. I was talking to Deej at some E3, and he's like, yeah, just dismantle the stuff you don't want. It's like, you don't understand what I had to do to
Yeah,
get that gun.
exactly.
You know?
But that's like every gun has a story, right? But when
Yes.
you are, your story is, well, I had to play X, Y, or Z 50 times until I find it. Like, it's a great moment of triumph, but you probably there's a chance you might tap out in frustration before that.
If the weapon is worth it, then sure. But that's the other thing is all the weapons kind of look and feel the same.
Yeah.
Like there's just not great enough diversity.
Well,
They reweight everything.
Yeah, we're fleshing them out a little bit. I know you love it when I say that. But a lot of the stuff, even if you think about D1, like, you know, do you guys dismantle your Fatebringer from original D1? Nope.
No.
Me either.
You
Why?
know how long
Because-
that took me to get?
Exactly. So that is the thing that's
Got it on
missing
my
right
first
now.
Vault of Glass raid. But I love it.
Shut up,
Don't
Sean.
even. Exactly.
I'll never forget that Andrea, Renee, and I both did our first Vault of Glass raid.
Yeah.
Thank you. I cannot speak coherently at the same time, and she got her icebreaker like.
Oh,
first.
really?
And I was like, "Oh, cool! Like that'll happen." I don't think I ever go.
Dude, I didn't.
And
I never got an icebreaker. In
What?
I
Yeah.
had like that chip
Wow.
on my shoulder about it too because I was
right at the end, I got a truth.
and it was like the second fight too. It wasn't even the end of it, and we
Yeah.
like spent like and everyone was like, "Oh my god, Andrea!" And I was like, I don't think I got a single exotic. In fact,
Yeah.
I just
that
haven't
entire
heard
raid.
those stories in Destiny 2.
You've played Destiny for 3 years and have never used Icebreaker. Are you saying that right now? No, you're not.
That has to be
I
not
never got an icebreaker.
You could have bought it at some point.
Exactly. It was
Yeah,
the
but I
gun
mean,
that
like-
defined
Yeah,
all
but
of
like-
Destiny, and they
Yeah.
nerfed it for that reason. What are you?
Yeah, I never got it.
That's what a good player Sean is, and that he never needed icebreaker.
Well, he does like last word, so let's not give him too much praise. Yeah.
I do like Last Word, my favorite weapon.
Oh man.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stuff we want. For me, it's just sort of quality of life stuff.
Yeah. They've addressed, or that
They're planning to, according to this,
For me, I just wish they made it. They renamed it World of Warcraft and
Oh, there it
copied
is.
everything.
Ding, ding, ding.
I've really enjoyed the first
25 minutes.
Destiny 2
I-
expansion, which is Stardew Valley on
Yeah.
PS4.
I mean, honestly, I say that jokingly, but also I'm kind of only half joking. Like, those games understand MMO RPG systems better than anyone else, like the Diablo and World of Warcraft and stuff. Blizzard has that formula nailed. All I'm asking is that, maybe you take a look at it and try and learn something from those systems.
Those games are that, though.
Like, you
that's
t-
the thing with Destiny. It wants to be PvP, it wants to be PvE, it wants to be a racing game.
Yeah.
Like, it's doing a bunch of things,
But-
and that's the
but
challenge.
so is
right?
World of Warcraft, right? Like, we talk about longevity, right? Like, when they pitched Destiny, we were all told it's going to be a 10-year franchise, right? And that is totally 100% possible if you just look at the way to do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
World of Warcraft came out in 2004, and it still has 10 million active subs. Like,
I feel like they start planning their timeline way in advance.
oh, yeah, certainly.
It's an anomaly, though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're running out of time on that segment, but let's talk about some of the stuff they are addressing. So the first Clarion Call for Destiny 2 will be live all week long. Clarion Call is double XP for everything you do with a clan member in the Fireteam. It ends November 20th at 10 a.m. It starts on the 17th. The team is working on Clan Chat and General Chat for PC. Clan Chat will be first because they're prioritizing. Guided Games is getting some TLC finally. This is stuff that they've addressed. And the reset is moving to 9 a.m. starting December 5th. No more 3 a.m.
What?
nights, CJ. You have to spend time with your family.
no, now
You're getting all your sleep back.
Now they're going to be 9 a.m. days.
No, just go to bed.
No, it's the last day
Yeah.
for trials.
Go to bed, wake up at 7 and do like a few trials runs before work.
So I do
Yeah.
like that because I felt this like great, but it kind of goes along with everything that Destiny was. There was this urgency to play trials until they like kicked you offline or inevitably you got a loss on your card or whatever.
Well, now there's an urgency to go to bed. And
No, I mean it is good overall. I will say I like that because I probably now will go to bed before the reset.
Yeah, I
but
want to
it's
check
good 'cause
back in on this. I want to see how this goes for CJ.
I'm not saying for sure, but it's nice because it coincides.
He's
with-
late to work because he stayed up all night.
I just show up at work.
Yeah.
But it makes sense within the context of like the way they usually launch game like activities and all that other stuff. So it's good overall. Yeah, I'm happy too, but it's no, this is a problem.
Oh, Zer's coming in the morning. I'll
Start
get.
sleeping at the office. It'll be great. You'll be
Pretty
not
much,
quite bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I'll just hit up Zer before I go to work, which will be nice. And then their streams start November 15th. There will be another on the 21st and 29th. Those will be at 11 a.m. about Curse of Osiris. Real briefly, I want to talk about the Xbox One X enhancements and the PS4 Pro enhancements. So PS4 Pro is getting adaptive 4K. Xbox One X is getting 4K. And I brought up the Bungie blog here to read their quote, so I didn't get it wrong. On December 5th, along with the launch of Curse of Osiris and Season 2, we'll be developing an update to Destiny 2 that will deliver stunning gameplay with high dynamic range, HDR lighting to these new consoles. You'll also see adaptive 4K resolution on the PlayStation 4 Pro and 4K on the Xbox One X. It's very interesting to me that they had to be so cautious with their phrasing about that, because adaptive doesn't sound as good as pure 4K to me. What about you guys?
Did you see any 1080p 60? Oh, no.
Nope. No frame rate improvements across the board, even though that the X could totally run it at 60.
So-
and the Pro probably could too at 1080 60.
Yeah.
That I think most people would agree. I'd rather have just 1080p 60 locked as opposed to 4K anything.
Yep.
For Destiny specifically.
And you've played on PC, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's so good.
That's the
It's a
thing.
different
is
game.
It
I
changes the multiplayer.
I have had
100%.
to eat my words on this because I have said
Me
on
too.
the show that I didn't think
Okay,
Destiny was the type of game that would benefit from having 60 frames a second. And then I played the PC version and was like, whoop, wrong.
Yeah.
Like, totally wrong. Like, it
too.
is way better at 60 FPS. And, like,
Yep.
it's
You want
kind
a
of
24 or something.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
well, for the cinematics. You want those in 24.
you feel the difference. Like, it was hard to actually quantify that, because everything that I've done to try to even make the PC at 30 versus 60 and all that stuff, 60 frames, especially for PvP, is a noticeable difference in how things shoot, the movement, the way it registers.
Responsiveness,
The
yeah.
responsiveness, it's pretty dramatic, and I'm not sure why. Just the extra frames.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer to know as a console player, because I don't
It
play on
is.
PC right now. I have played a substantial amount on PC, but I don't own a PC to play Destiny.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer to know that there's like a better experience that other people are having with the same game that you paid
Well,
the
lucky
same
for
amount.
you.
World.
I do not know.
Like,
I
I
live
never
in
knew
liberty.
before.
I have
You can live in ignorance.
Yeah, I live
This
in
is why.
ignorance.
This is why
it's
they
so
say.
great to be a console player.
This is why
Never
they
played
say
PC.
ignorance is bliss, because it's true.
Yeah, you haven't even used Icebreaker. Like, how did you do the Crota raid?
Yeah.
How did you do that? That makes no sense.
So much
Black
cheese.
Hammer.
A full cheese plate of cheese to
Yeah.
beat the Chrono Raid.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean-
you unplug the Ethernet cord. Yeah.
But so, like, I mean, 4K is like a big draw because Destiny already is a beautiful game, but it is at 1080p as well. So 60 is really what I'm aiming
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
But the difference, like, I do think it's kind of a big difference, adaptive 4K versus 4K.
Yeah.
We don't know specifically what this is yet, so I don't want to speak too much. But in the past, terms like adaptive have been used to describe what is essentially a scaling effect.
Upscaled, yeah.
Yeah, meaning like at times it'll be 4K, and then in order to keep the frame rate steady, in some parts where it's more graphically intensive,
hit
they'll lower
1440 or-
they'll lower the res a little bit, but they'll do it in such a way that supposedly
Seamless.
it's imperceptible to your eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
My thing is, as video guys,
Yeah.
as video people,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I can spot a single frame dip at any point in
sometimes,
gameplay.
yeah.
Go play Halo 5, go play the campaign, and tell me you don't see anything about the combatants, which were designed for 30 FPS.
Yes.
You know what will be
It
interesting,
looks
though?
phenomenal, by the way.
You know, to your point about how different it is playing on PC versus console, like if you have some people with 4K displays and some people who don't, I wonder if that will affect the balancing of different players.
I mean, I don't think resolution would have as much as an impact as
As
frame
FPS.
rate.
No.
Yeah,
obviously.
the frame rate
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
would for sure.
And again, like, it's a beautiful game at 1080p as well.
Or at 30.
yeah.
No, I'm talking about in terms of resolution.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
4K
yes.
or 1080p,
Yeah.
they're both beautiful art.
But that's a perceptive
So-
thing. Like how far away are you from your TV? What's the screen size you're playing on? Those don't affect the gameplay as
Yeah,
much
yeah.
as like 30 versus 60 or higher frames. So
I cannot
difference.
wait to see it on the X. I can't wait to see what they've changed about the PS4, because PS4 I played through at 4K anyway and captured it 4K. So like, how much is that going to change?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this, and thank God they're updating the Xbox version.
yeah, and you got an Xbox One X, right? You're
I am so
opening it
stoked.
up.
I really
Yeah,
like the
that's
X
really
a lot.
cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
saw you playing some of those old school games over there.
Yeah,
Dude,
Destin, speaking of that, I saw you jump on playing Halo.
Yes,
and I was like,
me too.
logging into Halo, sending Destin an invite, and then you just ignore me. Jerk.
So what happens is when you're streaming, everybody starts spamming you with invites and messages. So I turn notifications off.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
it was
not
me.
I was playing through campaign because I wanted to see the enhancements to the campaign, and dear God, it looks good on the X, dude. You should, if you didn't buy one, take one home and check out some of your games.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because I still play Halo regularly. Like, I want to play that again.
Yeah, you can take the one off my desk. I'm giving
What?
you
Oh,
special
really?
permission.
Yeah, until
Try
we
it
get
out.
that
We
email
heard
out,
this.
and I'm in LA being like, what
Heard
did
it
they
here
do this
first.
time?
Pooching on my ex, Jerry. Yeah. So finally, I want to make sure CJ has some time. We've been going a little bit. You wanted to address some of the comments.
Yeah,
that we've
I
seen
mean,
on YouTube.
It's interesting because we want to engage with a lot of the comments. And so some of them are the same week to week.
Yeah.
And so basically, rather than kind of have this situation where we ignore them and pretend like we don't see them, because we do, we don't get a chance to answer them all. Basically, a lot of the comments are like, hey, why don't you talk about like trials glitches or population numbers and all that stuff? Sometimes
We did talk about population numbers, didn't we?
we did. There's episodes where if you watch previous shows, we dive into it. And this kind of goes along the lines of like, why isn't the show an hour long?
The show was designed to be 3 people, like a fire team. So the reason it's not an hour long, it was designed
Although
for
fire teams are now 4 in PvP.
Some of
so.
them.
4 in PvP. That's why we did the show to 4.
Why
Why
isn't it 6 person? Right?
Upgrade.
So the design of the show was to be
Raid,
3
raid
segments.
edition.
Yeah.
The design of the show was designed with breakouts in mind. Originally, it was designed for 3 people because I noticed with 4 people, you go a little bit long, which as you've noticed, the show has gotten a little longer because of that.
Yep.
So it's designed with 3 people in mind, 3 10-minute segments. That was the goal of the production side of the show. So it was always meant to be a 30-minute show. And one benefit of that is I feel like you have to stay on point. I noticed with a lot of podcasts, you'll talk about hamburgers or something, which is fine on Unlocked. That works fine on Unlocked. We have a camaraderie in that way. I wanted to keep on point and on topic.
And it's good. I think a lot of people appreciate that. Everybody says, you know, I listen to you guys in the car. Maybe I wish it was a little longer. But for the most part, I actually enjoy that it's shorter because I get through it.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a lot
Speaking
of
of
them.
hamburgers,
that-
I really like an In-N-Out burger. Just
Yeah.
Exactly.
like-
no, moving on.
That's where I'm Unlocked.
But also, like, just in terms of, you know, production realist, like sort of logistics, you know, our studio is really busy.
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah.
people need to use it.
Yep.
It's difficult to justify using more time than you need.
Yeah, so I get it booked for about an hour. About half of that's setup, and then the other half is recording. And we usually go over a little bit. So we have like buffers set in for the show. But yeah, like if you're locked in the studio and you can't make it, it's kind of a problem, production-wise, because we have other people to consider.
Yep.
Sorry, Brian.
Exactly.
Hey, Alexio.
5 more minutes. We're almost done.
I love the producer cam.
Exactly.
Producer
And
Cam.
sorry, Alexia. You can cut yourself right now.
Brian
and
said it's
we'll
fine to go
apologize.
till 3.
Yeah. So just a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
But no, and then basically just really quick bullet points because of talking about the last episode. Recycled versus new content. That was big hot topic last week. Again, I'm not saying personally that I like recycled content. I think it's nice when it makes its way into the new game to, you know, make you familiar about that. I don't think it should be good as paid content. Like, let's not recycle the content and you have to pay for it. To get it maybe for free or under the paywall window, kind of good.
Like
Quick 30 seconds.
I spoke about this on the last episode, and I don't know that my tone came across right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of paying for something that I already played, especially in a prior game. That said, we need content now. So more content is more content. I like that. But yeah, if you're paying for something, I think it should be new, and I will be disappointed if it's not.
Yep.
In addition, we've also talked about that a lot on the show in the past. So oftentimes we'll have a guest on like Terry, and she'll bring up a point that we feel like we've beaten into the ground, like beating the dead horse. And they're like, man, have Terry on more. She brings up all those great points that I haven't had a chance to identify with as a viewer. And that's why we have guests, because they can bring up their points, and it's not just us reiterating the same points we've already made.
So I do think we do a pretty good job of making sure we hit on everything that's big.
We try.
Happening a lot. But like you said, we don't want to beat horses
To death.
I did think we came up with a good idea, though, to the question about why isn't the show an hour, to do like a raid group Fireteam
Raid
Chat
edition.
that's like a 6-person or like a longer form one that's like a special one.
We did that when we had the voice actress on the show with us for the special
Morla.
one.
Remember that,
Morla. And we had a bigger cast than it was like the whole cast. So,
So you can play with Destiny terminology in that way too.
And I think basically the last one is, you know, just some of the salt. If we want to just generally dive into it, it's like, I actually really do appreciate getting into the comments. Sometimes they're positive. Sometimes there's some negative ones. But
are you apologizing for Bungie right now?
Exactly. There it is.
Yeah. Wow.
And so,
CJ.
I
Typical CJ. Am I right, Internet?
apologist.
Yeah.
The reality is, I really do like the game. We play the game a ton. Like, do you have to play the game?
likes the game.
No, you do not
Clearly
have to
paid
play
for.
the game. Exactly. It's like, I like the game. And
Hashtag ad.
I played the whole first game, and it's like, there's just something about the DNA of the game that feels good to play. Am I Concerned about some of these systems? Yes. But again, they got rectified in later years, which is the reason why you go, okay, let's hope for that. But that's not to say that, again, I don't see obviously some issues right now.
It is mind-boggling to me, CJ, how people can claim that we're paid off or anything like that. Literally, this whole show has been me complaining about the endgame investment system, the fact that the consoles do 1080.
There's no kiosk space.
And I'm just like, how do you think that?
What I'll say to this, because we get this all the time on the entertainment team.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, Marvel pays them, DC didn't pay them enough, like all these jokes. And I think, well, not jokes to some people. They legitimately
by the way,
think
we
that
have
way.
a clear separation of that stuff to remain integral.
Right. And I think
our integrity.
what is different is that, like, from our vantage point of how we play games and also our correlation to the industries and the people who make it, is we have a slightly different perspective than people who are playing at home and don't have the opportunities we have to sit down with devs. And so, like, we're talking about, oh, wouldn't it be so easy if they just put out a new adventure every month? But then we also have the perspective of, but we know that's not feasible because we are not game developers. And I
We
think
know
that
we're
that's,
being ridiculous.
And that's where I think there's that extra level of sympathy on a show like this, because we do have that. To the same point
That's
that
interesting.
that the people who are listening at home or who may make those comments, like, have generally an understanding of what we do, but the parts that they don't know and don't see, just like the parts we don't see about making a game, allow us to sort of jump to conclusions that may not be right. Like game dev can't make a new level every month.
I have to say, I respect IGN a lot. When I reviewed Destiny 2, they're like, you're not allowed to pay for travel. You can go to the event. You're not paying for travel. You're not paying. IGN was going to pay for everything. And they footed the bill for me to stay in the hotel and take the flight and all that stuff and take the cab. IGN pays for that. Nobody.
Yeah,
else.
I mean,
and that's to make sure that separation is clear.
I don't want to. We've talked about this at length, and so many articles
I
have
don't
been written
think people
about it.
know though, Sean.
No, but I mean, what I want to say though is, like,
We don't say that on the show regularly.
no, but
think it's
there
a
are.
misconception.
What I want to say, what I mean is, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to beat the horse into the ground. Whatever.
horse.
I don't want to talk
This
about it
poor
too
horse.
much. But what I do want to say is, like, I feel very confident in saying that everyone who is on this show is only ever really expressing how they personally feel. It's their opinion.
Yes.
It's no one else's opinion. So if you're the type of person who levies the complaint at us, like, either you're shills or why aren't you doing X, Y, Z, or why aren't you asking this hard question? One, I would respond by saying, maybe I don't share that opinion. I'm only sharing my opinion. Two, maybe we have shared that opinion and talked about it on prior episodes and you just don't want to beat a dead horse.
Which is usually the case.
Which is usually the case. Like I said, I think we're pretty good about talking about most of the big topics. Then the other thing is, you're watching a show. I don't think it would be very interesting for the audience if you just listened to four people and moan for a whole 30 minutes.
Thanks,
about
Sean.
things.
Now I have to bleep the episode, and I'm going to forget. Then I'm going to have to re-export it and delay it again.
Steve Buss is
like-
going to be so mad at us.
Couldn't have just said complain.
Like, I wanted it to be a little
Complain.
forceful. Like, I don't think the audience would like it if we just sat up here and moaned about the game, because you're already
do.
seeing
Sorry,
you're
guys.
already seeing that kind of stuff a lot in the Destiny
Yes.
subreddits and
Which is
everywhere
why we
else.
try and balance it out.
Yeah, so I like to feel like we are critical when we need to be and celebratory when we need to be. But in my opinion, I believe we are always fair. And if you don't think that's true, that's fine. You're welcome to express your opinion.
Yes.
But I feel like just try and understand the perspective. We're trying to make something that people want to watch, and I am of the mindset that people don't want to watch a bunch of hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're pretty late on time. CJ, one final point.
Yeah, that's the last thing. Again, same thing. Like, Terry's right. Like, when you kind of have started to see the development side and all that stuff, you go, okay, people too. So even when we're reading comments and stuff like that, I'm much more interested in receiving feedback if it's actually, like, presented with a just little bit of respect and kind.
Yeah.
You don't need to agree with me. Like, and I'm fine with people disagreeing with me. I've seen some things about me in the comments and I just kind of laugh.
The
And
people who disagree with me and made their
kinda
point
funny.
kindly, I've been more apt to be like, I can take that feedback and do something with that.
for sure.
And it makes me a better host.
100%.
Thanks, guys.
And if people aren't kind, sometimes I just sit and laugh at my desk if it's stuff about us, because
And I put up my defensive shield and get angry. Yeah.
But I mean, there's some validity to some of the criticism, whether it's kind or not. But if it is kind, it goes a long way sometimes in being heard.
Yeah. We have one final thing. Here's an example of us not selling out. Bungie sent us a bunch of collector's editions of Destiny 2, and we're going to give them away to you. We're excited to announce we're randomly giving away copies of the Destiny 2 collector's edition, which I have right here. We have a copy on PS4, PC, and Xbox. Good timing with
Lift
the,
it up.
Yeah.
December
Ugh.
stuff.
Wide shot.
Right along the way.
Perfect.
Yeah, so all we ask is you drop to Fireteam Chat, leave a follow or subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment. Check out the link in the pinned comment on today's episode.
Yeah.
This is actually the collector's edition. It's getting a lot of...
Also, in your comment, describe to us why you think you'd be the best Destiny shill.
No, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
if you
Just
can
any
work
comment.
salty into your comment in some way.
Why do you
favorite
deserve
kind of
this
salt?
more than other people?
Bonus
No,
point
oh,
if you were one of
oh.
the people who tweeted at Dustin to get me on the show.
What's your favorite kind of salt and why? Because I eat steak, so there's like different kinds of salt you can put
Oh my
on
God,
steak.
I bought Maldon sea flakes.
Right?
And I'm so excited
salt.
about it.
This,
Yeah.
if you're not watching, if you're
Yeah.
listening and not watching, this is now turned into an unboxing episode on the
but
show.
to go back to my
where-
favorite type of
To
hammer.
show some of the stuff you got in here. Go ahead, Terry. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. But-
Now I'm thinking about salt.
Now Terry's like, I want to leave the...
Yeah, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm just gonna roll away. I did my exercise earlier doing those.
Tell
laps.
us some of your favorite things about Destiny 1 or 2 in the comments below. Some of your best memories.
Or my idea.
We've all
Use
had
a full sentence.
yeah.
Preferably with
We've
punctuation.
all had
Any
some,
comment.
We've
It's all
all
on the
had some
table.
good memories. You know, we've talked about that. It's
Well,
about the friend
that-
game.
that
you
bag.
know?
Yeah.
So
That bag is a-
we've
is
all
a
had
beaut.
some nice memories of Destiny over the years. But yeah, there you go.
That's the best part of Destiny. I remember where I was when I was pissed at Andrea Renee for getting that icebreaker.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And Sean, who's never gotten an
got an
icebreaker.
Yeah, you're off the show.
But it's Destiny's fault. It's the
Yeah.
unbalanced loot
It's
drops.
RNG.
Yeah, blame Destiny.
Zer sold
I
it. No
see.
excuses.
Exactly.
Just teasing. Guys, we need to wrap it up, but yeah, we are giving away a
You're not going to
collector's
be able
edition
to
of the
see
show.
Destin in the shot here.
I
This
like
is
this
perfect.
live version of an
Yeah.
unboxing.
All right, right there. Let's
Help
just
me
cut
see
to the
that.
outro. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so
All
much
right.
for
Get out of
joining
here.
us.
I'm just trying to, I want to set it up all night.
What
for
is
the
what is
outro.
happening
Oh my
here?
God. All right.
What is happening?
No, I
I
like
quit.
that.
Alexio,
like that.
I'm sorry,
There we
Alexio.
go.
Just cut to the wide shot.
Perfect.
This
There.
is.
Like, you're
Remember
like,
the
what is
wrap
happening?
up that you gave us like
All right.
20 minutes
Thank
ago?
you so much for joining us, Terry, on the show today.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming.
It was that's supposed to be like a call to an outro. Cause
Yeah, where can people find your stuff?
Oh, you can find my stuff at Terry_Schwartz on Twitter or the entire entertainment section because we do a lot of dope stuff.
Yeah,
Terry
we're working together
rocks.
on some cool stuff right now we can't
Yeah.
talk about. and
No, we
have
can
in the
talk about it.
past.
Punisher.
Oh, yes.
Punisher.
I didn't know I could say anything.
Well, you can say we're working on Punisher stuff.
Yes,
So
very
stay
excited.
tuned next
Yeah.
Friday.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So
good.
until next time, everybody,
Guardians out. We didn't tell her what to do.
By popular request, Terry Schwartz. Can you try it once? While doing the
Do
lap?
it once, yeah. Because when you go in, I'll make sure as a producer I'm going to get up,
trolling
and then
Terry
I
right
will come over to your chair and make sure you're in the right place.
See if that's better. That's definitely better.
What is
Oh, you know what? I forgot we can't record the show this week. She knows.
Wow.
Count it.
This.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
What's happening?
Let's do that again.
Just use that. That was good.
Alexio.
No.
Alexio.
What is this show
Don't-
turned into?
This is a weird episode. This is what happens when Fran leaves.
Alexio.
I love that.
You
I
are,
think
bring,
that's so
bring your
funny.
head back up again. And
All right.
Yeah, you can do
Hey,
that.
Terry, where can people watch the show?
No, just wait. Okay. Do that.
Where can people watch Fireteam Chat?
You can watch it on.
Whoa.
He's like, I
Close.
need to go to work.